That is one big pile of shit.
I was looking for a more creative way of summing things up, but no, that pretty much covers it.
Genetic power has now been unleashed.
We made a terrible mistake.
The doomsday clock might be about out of time.
Let's be honest with ourselves for a moment, can we? No one goes to see these films for anything other than the dinosaurs. That's the attraction. Ever since the original Jurassic Park way back in 1993, okay, suddenly I'm feeling like a fossil, the number one draw card of this entire franchise has always been the dinosaurs. Hell, all it took to sell the concept to Spielberg in the first place was the term genetically engineered dinosaurs, and he was away. So can someone please explain to me how it is possible to make a Jurassic Park film that is so boring that you honestly don't care when the dinosaurs show up? I'm not kidding. There are what should be some great exciting sequences that involve dinosaurs in this film, but you've been so dragged down by the uninteresting meandering of the human characters that by the time they show up, you're completely checked out. There's so much going on in this film, it's tough to summarize. The dinosaurs that escaped at the end of Fallen Kingdom have made it out into the world and are just kind of there now. Yes, they cause some havoc when they interact with humans, but nothing too major. Bryce Dallas Howard's Claire is collecting evidence of illegal dinosaur breeding and doing a little environmental terrorism while she's at it. Chris Pratt's Rex Dangervest Owen Grady is out being a dinosaur cowboy in the closest thing we're ever going to get to a Valley of Gwangi remake. And the little clone girl from the last film, Maisie, is living with them in a remote cabin in the woods, hiding out as the whole world is looking for her because reasons. Back. Meanwhile, there seems to be a plague of genetically engineered Cretaceous-era giant locusts decimating crops all over the US. Work that sentence into a conversation, I dare you. To deal with the problem of the locusts and the dinosaurs, the government has passed the buck off to a genetic supercorporation called Biosyn, which is a throwback to the original Michael Crichton novel. They've been collecting up all the dinosaurs they can and taking them to a sanctuary/research park that they've set up. You heard that right. They're putting the dinosaurs into a park. Anyway, Maisie is growing a little resentful about being trapped in this cabin and banned from interacting with anyone, so she rebels by going for bike rides into the local town. However, she gets spotted by some dinosaur poachers who are trying to track her down and kidnap her. Considering how terrible a job at being parents Owen and Claire are doing, maybe she'd be better off with the poachers. Around the same time as this, Blue the Velociraptor from the last two films shows up and reveals that she has had a baby. Which should be impossible because some shit from the previous movies, it doesn't matter. The poachers grab the baby raptor and Maisie and take them on a very convoluted route to the Dino Sanctuary because they're the key to unlocking the dinosaur secrets and stopping the giant locust plague. See, all of that is just set up and I'm still not sure I covered everything. Anyway, Owen and Claire set out to track down and rescue Maisie, just so happening to bump into the cast from the original Jurassic Park films along the way. The advertising for this film was constantly touting it as the end of the Jurassic Park films, claiming it was the culmination of the story that Spielberg and Crichton began all those years ago. But saying that would indicate that they had some grand overarching storyline that was planned over the last three films. But to be completely truthful, this movie plays out like they wrote themselves into a corner with the last one and now have no idea where they could go. Back off! Let's just be very clear about one thing. As brilliant a film as it was, the original Jurassic Park was kinda thin on the ground when it came to story. Go to the island with dinosaurs, the dinosaurs get a bit ornery, try to get off the island. That's it. Spielberg went back to his Jaws playbook and deleted all the superfluous story details from the novel to make a straight A to Z adventure story, which is something that Spielberg is brilliant at. Yes, Indiana Jones might be pointless to the story of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it's so much more fun because he's there. So every time they make a new Jurassic sequel, it always seems to need more and more complicated reasons to get people to interact with the dinosaurs. So the movie just gets bogged down in all of these complications, rather than the adventure of, oh shit, dinosaurs! Which leads us to this film, which is a friggin' mess. There's just so much going on at all times, and most of it just feels like a desperate scramble to try and justify its own existence. For instance, Ellie Sattler, revisited by Laura Dern from the original Jurassic Park, is researching the giant locusts. She's a paleobotanist. What is she doing investigating an insect infestation? She quickly realizes that the MacGuffin bugs don't eat crops grown from biosyn seed, so she heads off to collect evidence of their involvement. But before she heads off, she tracks down and coerces into joining her Sam Neill's Alan Grant because she wants someone to hold her hand while she breaks into the evil corporation? She's having a midlife crisis and wants to track down an old boyfriend? I'm not being facetious here, those seem to be the actual reasons that she wants Alan along. How do they get into evil Jurassic Park? Easy. They just show up. Because as contrivance would have it, Jeff Goldblum's Dr. Ian Malcolm is already working for Biosyn as a... You know what? I'm not entirely sure. Motivational speaker maybe? Even though he's telling them all that what they're doing is horrifying? He's basically there as an on-site celebrity, but for some reason he's got complete access to the entire facility, including the secret lab where the evil dino bugs are kept. It's like giving Tony Robbins the nuclear codes if he shows up at the White House. It's unnecessary plot contrivances like these that bog the film down, all in an attempt to try and crowbar the original characters into a film where they are not needed. Seriously, they add absolutely nothing to the plot whatsoever. If you cut them out of the story entirely, you'd wind up with a better story. Knock it off! I get the feeling that Colin Trevorrow is the type of filmmaker who really wants to put certain levels of social commentary into his films, similar to the works of someone like Paul Verhoeven. But he just isn't that guy. Most of the messages he instills are just the most basic sort of armchair activism. What's he saying with this? Corporations are evil? Billionaires are bad? Capitalism over humanity will ruin us? Yeah, no shit. I mean, look at the almost cartoonish depiction of the billionaire CEO of Biosyn, Dodson, created as a parody of Apple's CEO Tim Cook. I guess Elon Musk's turn towards supervillainry came a little late for them to use him as an inspiration. But it's just so heavy-handed. You know he's the bad guy. He comes across as a bad guy. So when eventually he starts acting like the bad guy, it's not like it comes as any big revelation. In fact, all it does is make you question how someone this incompetent ever created a billion-dollar company. Or maybe they just got inspiration for that from someone else. The two main words I think of most in regards to this film are pointless and disappointing. Pointless because there is no reason for this film to exist. It doesn't add to anything, it doesn't extend the lore at all, and it doesn't wrap up the story in any sort of satisfying way. The status quo is pretty much exactly the way it was at the end of Lost World, except the scenery has changed. And disappointing because, come on, it's friggin' Jurassic Park for Christ's sake. That original film was so important to an entire generation of filmgoers and filmmakers. It took that final step that led us to a world where truly nothing is beyond the reach of the right storyteller. If people can imagine it, it can truly be realized. Yes, unfortunately, that has led to a lot of filmmakers becoming really lazy, trying to fall back on the mythic nature of the visuals on screen, rather than telling compelling stories with engaging, interesting characters and having the visuals enhance that. But it's also allowed some incredible concepts to be realized on screen in ways we could never have imagined. To treat that film and this franchise with such a blistering level of what can only be called disrespect is just mind-blowing. This was designed to be the final Jurassic World film, and to be completely truthful, I kinda hope it is. This film broke my heart a little bit. I will always love Jurassic Park, and a part of me will always be excited whenever there is a new one. But if this is the kind of low-quality storytelling they're going to attach to this franchise, I'd rather everyone just walk away and for it all to just become extinct.